it's very sad. A few weeks ago, I was visiting some of the counties, and we were told, people were asking, did you have elections? It was about 3 weeks ago. They were saying, who is the president of Kenya? I was so disturbed to wonder why would somebody from some part of the same country say they don't know what's happening. A newspaper reaches them after a week. You know, that is very dangerous.
Because and the fear of crisis there is something else. And I think Doc, you're laughing because you know some of what he's saying is true.
Exactly.
And still on the same, I would like you to touch on the democracy that we've had. Indeed, we fought for independence and we got it. Then we fought for multipartyism and we got it. Then we fought for a new constitution. Now we have it. Picking from what Nelson has talked about, we are guaranteed that there is no president who will do more than 2 terms. Looking at the first regime and the second regime, we had them do more than 10 years, with the second president of Kenya having 24 years. But now we are guaranteed because we have our own constitution. Not only do we have our own country, we have our own constitution. But as he has said, the sharing of the national cake, he feels that we are yet to get there, and mentioning some of the counties from one of them that you hail from.
I would like to first say one thing in terms of the uniqueness of our nation. Kenya is the only country where you have experts unemployed within the country, but you source them from outside.
And you have them.
You have them here, and pay triple of what you would have paid your own experts in the country.
I'm talking about the Cuban doctors?
The Cuban doctors.
Yes.
So Kenya is unique. Secondly, Kenya is the only nation where the system is established, but people will not want to leave the system freely to function. They will still hold on it. What are these systems I'm talking about? Now I'm going into the games and things that have caused a lot of difficulties for people who will want to expel, on independence, but again they are not intentionally feeling to leave systems that have been put in place. For example, we have the IBC, the electoral body. We call it independent, and it's a very nice word. Is always there, but we rarely see that independence in it. Every other time election comes in. Why? Both entities, whoever is competing for any position, will want favor from the institution. And the institution's leadership is compromised because these are civilians who have been tasked to follow just the law, the constitution that has been established, that established them, so that they are able to deliver with their mandate within that territory. But the challenge is the people who are in control of the systems will want to utilize or misuse them for purposes of self-gain, but not for the purpose of the constitutional gain. So this is one of the things that people are getting a problem in terms of gains. Leaving out or freeing the,
apologies to interject, but as we can see, the neighboring county of Kirinyaga County Governor and Waiguru there also getting in. It more or less seems like now the Kenyan dignitaries have already started streaming in, and she's having a chat there with one of the journalists, and as you can see, some of the big vehicles getting there. We know very well that we are not quite far from the big thing. Apologies for that, Doctor.
That's fine, thank you very much. Now, in terms of gains, you will realize that much of the gains are in papers. We have established systems that indeed guided by the 2010 constitution, although this constitution, much of the previous constitution was adapted from UK, and then later when we were developing our constitution, we adapted from Western countries, particularly America, and that wasn't a good move in terms of reflecting on the real life of Kenyans and putting their own laws, and that's why we are struggling with some of the laws that, or the laws that have been developed during that time.
Chief of Defense Forces also, Ogola, has just arrived. That more or less signifies that the head of state is not quite far. being the commander-in-chief, now that his CDF has already arrived at the Mebu Stadium. We are expecting the president and also the CSs. I haven't seen any CS yet, but we're expecting them to start streaming in any moment from now. Doc?
I just saw Murkomen coming in,
Murkomen,
so
yes.
You must have missed that.
Yes.
But you're going to look for it.
Okay.
I think one thing that we need to reflect on in terms of the gain versus the reality is that, one, we must be proud of our peaceful dispensation of our leader governance in our country. When you go to neighboring countries, even after independence, you see there's quite a number of crises, either coups or even you know, there's no freedom. As our colleague here mentioned, you'll realize there's a lot of difference between Kenya and neighboring countries or even Africa. When you go there, that's the time you'll appreciate Kenya is indeed in advanced stages. And when you look at Kenya from the perspective of where we are, we want more, while others are still scrolling. Still, they have not actually realized the basic things that 21st century people will have seen it. So that is one. Secondly, you know, we are able to, you know, develop institutions that are independent. These institutions were anchored in our constitution, and the fact that we have those institutions there with all the knee-jerk problems or all the other issues, it's a very good indication that Kenya is heading towards, you know, democratic freedom. Thirdly, you see our medias. You don't forget media. We are able to come out and express our concerns freely, without fear. And I know there are countries where you cannot even open your mouth, even if you are a leader. Forget about ordinary elites within the country who will have contributed to the development of the nation, but even the leaders who have been elected have no freedom to come to a media and express concerns or even talk about good things unless you praise an individual who is in power. And praising an individual is not governance. That is dictatorship. And dictatorship will not take any country anywhere. But we have one challenge that I see is not also getting out of our nation. Tribalism. We associate ourselves with tribes. 21st century, still talking about I belong to this tribe. This guy who has been given this position belongs to this tribe. A case in point is recently the DPP Nuruddin Haji, who has been given a position at NIS as Director General. I mean, when you look at Kenyans, they have a place in the society, and when they speak out, you want to gain a lot from them. But our young people are looking at this particular person talking about tribe and issues of leadership or appointments. I think that way it will be, that's the thing that we are not getting out of it. And the moment we continuously talk about tribe, you remember President Barack Obama, when he came here, he said a nation that is built on tribalism is doomed to fail. I mean, nations that are anchored on tribes will not get anywhere because tribalism is a disease. And that is where most of the African countries are collapsing, because they think certain groups or formation they belong to as a tribe or as a kinsman must have certain priority over the other ones, and that will not take us very far. And my wish at the age of 60 as our nation is that I think I want to see a Kenya where each and every person is a Kenyan by brand, and each and every person gets positions based on the performance or qualification than based on tribe or personal issues. But regionalization is okay, because you need to balance as a nation. You come from different region. I mean, we have counties now. I mean, balancing employment or appointment regionally is a logical thing. But on tribal line, you could have 10 people who are from the same region, maybe for example where we are having the event in Mebu, who are able to deliver better than any other people in the county, in other counties. And if they are the ones who are able to deliver that, then we should use them, because the end result is service delivery.
Engineer, if you ask me, after we gained independence and self-rule in 1963, we've also gotten more freedom when we started out multipartyism in 1992, and even some Kenyans lost their lives fighting for that. And after that, we also have the freedom of our own constitution. I would like you to touch on the governance, that the steps that we've made, the freedom that we have made and we have now, because of how we have been able to conduct our governance issues.
Well, freedom we have. I think the question we need to ask ourselves, what have we used it for? How has it made our lives better by exercising that?
Speaker of the Senate, apologies, the Speaker of the Senate has just also streamed in, as you can see, Amason Jeffa Kingi there, being escorted and also being welcomed by some of the Kenya Defense Forces officers there. Let's first of all listen in. We have some interview with, yes indeed, let's listen in.
Wakati tunasherehekea sikukuu ya Madaraka hivi leo, ni siku muhimu sana kwa taifa letu la Kenya, manake linaleta kumbukumbu ambapo wale ambao walijitolea kwa hamu na gamu kupigana na mbeberu ili kuona kwamba Kenya imekuwa huru na tumepata madaraka ya kujitawala wenyewe. Kwa hivyo ni siku muhimu na ni siku ambayo Kenya lazima wajivunie na wajikumbushe mengi ya kwamba tulipotoka ni kubaya, tulikuwa tuko katika minyororo ya mabeberu ya kufurahikia kama Wakenya, na pia ni siku ya Wakenya kuweka vichwa pamoja na kuanza kujiuliza, baada ya miaka hii yote ya kupata uhuru wa kujitawala, ni yapi ambayo tumeweza kuyatekeleza sisi wenyewe kama Waafrika weusi, sisi wenyewe kama Wakenya, baada ya kumfurusha mzungu, baada ya kumfurusha Mwingereza, ni yapi sisi wenyewe ambao pia tumeweza kuyatekeleza. Kwa hivyo wakati jiuliza, je, safari hii ya kuwa na uwezo na uhuru wa kujitawala nchi hii imeenda mbele kimaendeleo?
Je, kama seneti
mambo ya hela bila shaka ni mambo ambayo yanatekelezwa na executive. Kama seneti, ukiangalia katika katiba yetu ni kwamba seneti jukumu lake kubwa sana ni kutetea na kuhakikisha kwamba haki ya serikali. Miaka hiyo yote 10 na tunaenda 11 sasa, seneti imesimama kidete kutetea haki ya serikali za kaunti, kuona kwamba haihujumiki wakati wanatekeleza majukumu yao. Kwa hivyo kusema kweli ni kwamba kama seneti imetekeleza wajibu wake wa kisheria, wa kikatiba, kuona kwamba serikali za kaunti zimesimama na zimelindwa vilivyo.
Spika wa bunge la seneti humu nchini akizungumzia tu mahali nchi ya Kenya imetoka, umuhimu wa sherehe hizi za Madaraka Day, akisema kwamba ni sherehe muhimu ambayo za jinsi Kenya tulivyoweza kujitoa kwenye mikono ya mbeberu. Amezungumzia hali ilivyo, akasema kwamba ugatuzi kama bunge la seneti imeweza kujaribu kufanya kila ndizo majukumu yale ambayo ni majukumu ya bunge la seneti kuweza kufanya, na amesema kama seneti wameweza kufanya jukumu lao, kwa hivyo yote imesalia katika mikono ya serikali kuu. Baadhi ya viongozi wameshaanza kuingia, kama nilivyokujuza mtazamaji kwamba hapa itakuwa ni nafasi ama ndio lango kuu ambalo viongozi watakuwa wanatumia kufika katika ukumbi ama katika uwanja huo wa Embu, na kama ulivyoona hao ni viongozi wameingia. Mwingine aliyeingia hapo awali ni waziri wa kilimo Mithika Linturi, vile vile naibu gavana wa kaunti hii ya Embu Kinywa Mugo, vile vile mbunge wa Kihara Ndindi Nyoro, pamoja na mwenyekiti wa baraza la magavana Anne Waiguru. Na kama unavyoona hilo ni gari la spika, huyu ni wa bunge la kitaifa. Huyu ni spika wa bunge la kitaifa, ndiye anayefika sasa. Dr. Moses Wetangula anaingia, kama unavyoona hilo ni Imia. Tungependa kupata kuzungumza naye, acha tuone kama atazungumza nasi kama wanahabari. Ndo huyu hapa.
Which are the many questions?
So many questions across the country right now,
yes.
Especially on the role of democracy. You have seen, on democracy, you've seen what the opposition is saying about lack of democracy, a decision that will also be coming to your house soon, and so many other things that
yes.
are in question. What would you say about where we are as a country today?
At 60, we certainly have come of age. Since independence, we have had regular elections at the level of democracy, with challenges, of course, but we have managed to successfully have now the 5th president. That is a feather in our democratic cap that we should be proud of. What we should focus on is now at 60, what social transformation do we give to our country? How do we get rid of abject poverty in our country, provide clean water, some issues that we have been talking about for the last 60 years. I think now it's time to take a new trajectory, reduce unnecessary and unhelpful arguments in our politics, and focus on how to uplift the lives of our people. That is what this day should signify. Our forefathers fought for independence. They brought independence. We should not betray them by derailing the cause for which they fought. Thank you.
Yet at 60,
SMSEs.
Yes.
Exactly. What do you have to say about that? Because they're still complaining.
The world is now going smart economy, and Kenya should not be left behind. So we'll do everything we can to move in that direction.
At 60 years, Mr. Speaker,
yes.
The House you're leading, Parliament, working for the executive, being in bed with the executive. Parliament is still said not to be...
The House is independent of the executive. The House consists of political players. So you have to mix the two. The political players have caucuses outside the House, and they come to the House and vote as individuals and as caucuses. Move to that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That we are seeing a lot of surgeries at KEMSA. Does it concern you?
My biggest concern is the delivery of health to the people. That is my greatest concern. And anything that would is what will be of concern to us. And our greatest concern is whether health will still remain a lot of efforts by some of the entities in national government to try and claw back on health without necessarily looking like they are doing a clawback. They use other programs like from donor agencies. And of particular interest, one, we have the universal health workers or universal health staff who were employed by the national government when COVID struck, and they had a contract of 3 years which ended this month. Of course, these health workers don't belong to the county, they don't belong to the national government, they belong to the people. And unless those people are given their letters and they come back for a renewal contract of 3 years, health is going to suffer. And of course, there's the issue of the mask, which we are aware at the moment, that the equipment that have been assisting our people for the longest time since this program was consummated, we are now staring at the danger of our people converging back get basic health services like the ICs, CT scan, and so on and so forth. So it is critical that whatever government should take place, which we are not part of, as we just want the services to continue. It doesn't matter whether they will be leased or bought, we just want the services to be there because the public is already used to them. And so as we address Madaraka Day today, health must sit on the top list of the things we need to address.
Mheshimiwa Newton Karish,
unajua wimbo yake? Unasikia watu wa Embu? Watu wa Embu?
We are now at we are on the last month basically.
Huyo mwimbaji alikuwa
in June.
Wimbo wa kwanza Neema, unafuata wimbo wa pili Osamovea Wito. Twende kazi.
Osamovea Wito, wigewila ni chaku, chaku cha usumimwe. Osamovea Wito, Osamovea Wito, wigewila ni chaku, chaku cha usumimwe. Osamovea Wito, mwiaiwe ni wikite, maono maosenyona, mwiaiwe nutaiwe, mabina ungetwidayuwe, mwiaiwe ni wikite, maono maosenyona, mwiaiwe nutaiwe, mabina ungetwidayuwe. Tambua ila asa hutunete Osamovea Wito, wakine machambua ila wea sunegete. Osamovea Wito, wikibila ni chaku, chaku cha usumengwe. Osamovea Wito, Osamovea Wito, wikibila ni chaku, chaku cha usumengwe. Osamovea Wito, mwiaiwe ni wikite, maono maosenyona, mwiaiwe nutaiwe, mabina ungetwidayuwe, mwiaiwe ni wikite, maono maosenyona, mwiaiwe nutaiwe, mabina ungetwidayuwe. Muadhibo, alaodu hadimete. Osamovea Wito, muganise kuweasa, muganise kuweasa. Osamovea Wito, wigewila ni chaku, chaku cha usumimwe. Osamovea Wito, Osamovea Wito, wigewila ni chaku, chaku cha usumimwe. Osamovea Wito, mwiaiwe ni wikite, maono maosenyona, mwiaiwe nutaiwe, mabina ungetwidayuwe, mwiaiwe ni wikite, maono maosenyona, mwiaiwe nutaiwe, mabina ungetwidayuwe. Ulawe utunengete. Osamovea Wito, unanzebe ya mana, asa numesita. Osamovea Wito, wikibila ni chaku, chaku cha usumengwe. Osamovea Wito, Osamovea Wito, wikibila ni chaku, chaku cha usumengwe. Osamovea Wito, mwiaiwe ni wikite, maono maosenyona, mwiaiwe nutaiwe, mabina ungetwidayuwe, mwiaiwe ni wikite, maono maosenyona, mwiaiwe nutaiwe, mabina ungetwidayuwe. Nasana utunengete. Osamovea Wito, unasi utunengete, utunengete mana. Osamovea Wito, wigewila ni chaku, chaku cha usumengwe. Osamovea Wito, Osamovea Wito, wigewila ni chaku, chaku cha usumengwe. Osamovea Wito, mwiaiwe ni wikite, maono maosenyona, mwiaiwe nutaiwe, mabina ungetwidayuwe, mwiaiwe ni wikite, maono maosenyona, mwiaiwe nutaiwe, mabina ungetwidayuwe.
Tuwapigie makofi wanapoondoka jamani, watu wa Embu. Wacha nione watoto kupambana nazo changamoto ili asipate aibu katika majukumu yake na uongoza familia. Kwenu tunasema peko, enyi viongozi wa kanisa. Kwenu tunasema peko, enyi viongozi wa taifa. Kwenu tunasema peko, kiongozi mwaminifu katika maneno na matendo. Mungu Baba hatamjalia kuishi kwa raha siku zote. Kiongozi mwaminifu katika maneno na matendo. Mungu Baba hatamjalia kuishi kwa raha siku zote.
Na wingi wa busara anajua
kumtanguliza Mungu mbele katika mambo yake yote. Mungu humwangalia kutoka juu na kumpa baraka naye katika nchi ya tanga na huongoza familia. Kwenu tunasema peko, enyi viongozi wa kanisa. Kwenu tunasema peko, enyi viongozi wa taifa. Kwenu tunasema peko, enyi viongozi mwaminifu katika maneno na matendo. Mungu Baba kwa raha siku zote.
Mungu Baba, sikiliza yetu maombi kwa viongozi,
ukawape hekima kutoka kwako aliye na ujasiri, wakatuongoze kwenye kicho chako wala sio kututawala, bali watuongoze kwa amani unaoongoza familia. Kwenu tunasema peko, enyi viongozi wa kanisa. Kwenu tunasema peko, enyi viongozi wa taifa. Kwenu tunasema peko, enyi viongozi waaminifu katika maneno na matendo. Mungu Baba atamjalia kuishi kwa raha siku zote. Enyi viongozi waaminifu katika maneno na matendo. Mungu Baba atamjalia kuishi kwa raha siku zote.
Tuwapongeze kwa makofi kwa yetu ya Ukristo Mfalme. Wape makofi kwake Mike Getone.
Asante sana kwaya yetu inapoondoka uwanjani. Shukran sana kwaya yetu ya Kristo Mfalme, wimbo wao, wimbo tuendeleze. Wanaingia sasa kwaya yetu ambayo ni Karaba Wango kutoka parokia yetu hapa hapa katika sub-county yetu ya Mwea, hususan na jimbo la Embu. Wanatuletea wimbo wao, wimbo ujenzi wa taifa. Kumbuka kwamba ujenzi wa taifa ni jukumu langu mimi na wewe, ikiwa ni makala ya 60 sherehe ya Madaraka hapa katika uga wa jimbo letu la nambari 014, ukipenda jimbo la Embu. Tukizidi kuwakaribisha viongozi wote ambao wanazidi kujiunga nasi, viongozi waliotunukiwa nyadhifa mbalimbali za uongozi. Karibuni sana tunapoendelea katika tamasha yetu ya burudani. Kilele cha sherehe yetu ikiwa ni hotuba ya Mheshimiwa Daktari William Ruto, Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa Majeshi ya Ulinzi. Kwaya hizi ni kwaya ambazo zimebombea katika miziki ya Injili. Ikiwa tunapoimba tunasali mara mbili. Kwa hivyo hongera kwa kwaya zetu, hongera kwa walimu wetu wanaoendelea kubombea katika miziki iliyopangwa ikapangika, miziki mitamu kama uki au asali, miziki iliyo laini kama zinga za farasi.
Ati kama
miziki mitamu kama uki.
Kerolie, 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 timana kerolie. Aya, ndoi, liwe, ukama, uka, tribuka.
PPMC Production.
Agua, cadro agua, droga, oh come on, chama. Monica, wale wagwa Monica, wakendiga Monica, ena madena Monica, Monica, timana Monica. Wata, wayaya, avaita Monica we, swa, wayaya. Avaita Monica, swa. Avaita Monica, aya we, swaga we. Avaita Monica, wait, okay. Samba,
Samba. Oh, oh. Ah, yeah. Todia the qua. Mogondale. Wajojo. Trage. Oitar go corre tanto.
Pongezi kawe ni konkodi na ujisaulishi change. Leo tumeka mkuku appreciate shonse mkuko tuna walombo tovu na touga mewega nego tova goto
mama mboga salute pokea shukuran kani mboka nyupi gadi Jumapili man mse wa smoke chomelea na motura kinyozi na salon wale wa wadhi na wati heshma mayouth man wote tunaopiga mboka tukutane tuendane Kenya tuje na mbele soma yai tunasema shukuran
Tuwapongeze kwa makofi tafadhali wananchi. Wimbo wao ujenzi wa taifa. Mike Getone.
Asante sana mwenzangu Ngaruya. Wanaingia sasa kufunga safu ya matumbuizo kipindi hicho ni wanakogan Kochia. Hawa wanajulikana kama Ramogi Cultural Dances. Hapo ndani kuna mzee ambaye mdadisi wangu ananiambia kwamba ana miaka 90. Na ni yeye team leader.
Huyo mzee?
Yes. Mjumbe wa hapa ana miaka ngapi?
Mbunge hapa ni kama 40 hivi ama 50.
Pale ndani huyo team leader wa Kogan Kochia ana miaka 90. Mjumbe hapa anaitwa Mukonji. Mukonji, nataka uangalie mzee yako hapo mbele. Huyo mzee ana miaka zaidi ya 90. Kutoka Kogan Kochia. Weka macho uwanjani Ngaruya sasa.
Asanteni sana, tuwapongeze kwa makofi, kwa makofi, kwa makofi, kwa makofi. Wanapoondoka tuwapongeze kwa makofi tafadhali. Mike Getone.
Asante sana. Nimepata ujumbe wake ndugu yangu Fanuel ananiambia kwamba wanaitwa Kagan.
Ati wanaitwa
Kochia.
Wanaitwa
Kagan.
Very well, that has been one of the sights and sounds live from Mebu. Traditional dance group from Luo Nyanza there, taking their steps there to entertain the crowd as we wait for the chief guest, President William Ruto, who we expect to lead the 60th celebrations of Madaraka Day today. And as soon as he's there, we'll be informing you as well. But also here in studio, we are reflecting on the 60 years of independence and some of the challenges and some of also what we've been able to accomplish in that time. I have Dr. Isaac Hassan, I also have Engineer Crispus Wathimba, and also I have Nelson Sechere, who is the Executive Director of Veterans for Peace Kenya, where veterans have been also, we're expecting a lot of veterans there as well, but they are sometimes the unsung heroes. But Engineer, as we wrap up on the matter of devolution and what we expect the President, of course the finance bill is something on a lot of Kenyans' lips, but we also have a number of issues that Kenyans need addressed, and especially when it comes to the high cost of living. I would like you to touch on that.
Well, I just want to touch on the fact that devolution is with us. We are not going to backtrack from that. We are not going to look behind and say, do we go back to a one government kind of administration? So now that we have devolution, we must make it better. We must take stock of the 10 years that we have had devolution. What has gone for us, what has been good for us, and what has been bad for us. That which we have been very bad for us, we expect the President to be very firm and deal with it. That which has been good for us, we want the President to build on that, so that Kenya can take full advantage of the good things that are coming out of devolution. When Kibaki took over in 2003, many people didn't believe that we would have free education, free primary education. But he went and started the program without even enough resources as a country, and today we have benefited fully from free education. Meaning, as a country, it's not that we lack the resources. The challenge is how do we use or maximize the wealth that we have as a country. If we could be able to collect enough of our taxes and make sure there's less loss in terms of how we spend our taxes, we have enough for this country. One of the challenges we have is that we speak a great deal about corruption. If you look at the headlines we had over the last 10 years, there was corruption, corruption, corruption. But there's very few of those headlines showing a single person who has been prosecuted successfully, jailed, and assets recovered and taken back to the public. Very few, very little is spoken about the fight against corruption or fight and a winning. So I hope and pray that this administration will have success stories where somebody who has been found to have stolen public resources is found culpable, is prosecuted, is punished, and those resources taken back to the public so that they can be able to help. So we hope that if this is fought, then when it comes to us asking for more taxes, it will be an easy conversation because we can be able to trust the government with our resources. But as we are now, even if you put how beautiful these levies will look in terms of what they can deliver, but we don't trust the people who are going to manage the resources, it's going to be very hard conversation. We just pray that the government can be able to be as firm as possible with this fight on corruption. Let us be able to be a country where if you're given a public position, you are satisfied with a small salary as it is. We are satisfied with the powers that you are given, and don't abuse those powers to increase your salary. Because public service does not come with a lot of perks, but it comes with a lot of power. And that power is what is being abused by people to make a lot of money. We've seen an employee of Nairobi City Council who was earning 21,000 shillings, but he used his power as a procurement officer to amass wealth reaching 500 million Kenya shilling. That is where
in less than 10 years actually.
In less than 10 years. So that's what we're saying. This public office comes with a small pack, but it comes with a lot of power. So when you use this power for your own selfish interest, many Kenyans lose. We have talked about people running for office and spending millions of shillings for a small salary. It's not about the salary they are going to recover their money. It's the power these offices come with. And when those powers are abused, it's Kenyans who suffer. So if we can be very firm in taming how this power is abused by government officials, then as a country we can progress. Kibaki managed to do that. He was surrounded by people who understand where he is going. Kibaki himself never reflected on making himself rich. He entered office.
Kenya tunayoipenda tuwe tayari kuilinda. Wa Kenya tufurahie na tusherehekee, twajivunia kuwa wazalendo. Twajivunia kuwa wazalendo.
Huko Kenya kwena bayo mefakare yonde, tuko na amani kote, tunapendana, todie na mbele kuigata